Okay, Senator, there are a few things, but indeed, you can just read our post just that are following shortly this afternoon. So to proceed.
Well, like I said, thank you for the opportunity. And as you know, I was recently in the county. I had an opportunity to tour the county, have meetings, strategic meetings, I termed them, some interviews on the radio, some interactive, discussions with the citizens. So it's always good, and I had a very beautiful time. I thank all of those who made my stay in the county very pleasant and comfortable. I was very well received. I had a wonderful time. And so I'm back here with my business and other issues of national concern and interest. And so, like I said, you're welcome to Maryland Guest House. This is one of some of the things I do. And I'm glad that you're all here. And I hope we have a very fruitful discussion.
So, Senator, you contested the just ended 2020 senatorial elections in Maryland County, and you're one of those candidates. What are those new experiences you had during the time, and what is the regrets?
Well, the election itself was a wonderful experience. Again, can you switch that light off, please? Right in my eyes. The election itself was a wonderful experience. Um, Very engaging. I was, for the first time in my entire political sojourn, I was very fiery. I was straight to the point on issues, not mincing my words, neither compromising, my firm stance on any issue. And I think, excuse me, it was important because we were at a critical junction. And most of our people, most often they say, oh, had I known, oh, we didn't know. So I thought I will, review everything about everybody and let the people make a conscious decision. We went through that process. I wasn't successful. My points were not encouraging. And so I just thank the people and move on. I returned to the country, like I said, just recently I was there. And all of these discussions I had with them, most people thought I had come to campaign again and talk. So no, I said, no, I've had only one question for the people of the county. One, why didn't you vote for me? Because for me, it was a puzzle. It still remains a mystery, a puzzle. Because of the confidence I have in the level of service to the people of Maryland and the Republic, I find it very strange that at a time, a critical time of this in our political life in this country, our democratic space, our democratic timeline, that we will not seek to get the best that the country has to offer, the best the country has to offer. Now, of course, somebody will say, but Senator, you are talking, so you claim to be the best. No, I'm just saying the best that we have to offer. And based on my performance and my record, I thought I had done the best. And so I just wanted to know why you didn't vote. And very, I can say surprisingly, because I expected it, nobody could tell me where I went wrong. Nobody could tell me the fault of Senator Ballout. I hear people, especially during the debate, during the campaign, the last one. Somebody also, but Senator, you failed the people measurably. That's why you were voted out the first time, and that's why people will not vote for you this time. Say, granted, if somebody failed measurably, that means out of 10 points, probably the person had failed all 10 or 8 or 9 or 7 points. So I'm not asking for 8, 9, or 10 over 10 of the points I have failed. I just asked you to mention one area that I failed. And that young fellow who asked that question, I told him I would ask from I will count from 1 to 100, give you a chance to answer just one area that I failed. He couldn't answer. And that is a famous question the whole county talks about all the time. And my point is, at that point, if you cannot call one point that you say I failed, even though you just talk carelessly, if you can mention one area, this is to show that I didn't fail Maryland. It's Maryland that failed John Ballout. And so, again, democracy, what it is, how we practice it, it's free choice of the people. And the people must live with the consequences of their choice. Again, right after the election, I received a lot of calls. I went to the county and everybody who was out there talking negative about me, they are the same people coming and saying about everything you said was true, everything. But listen, I'm not here for that because this is precisely what I tried to avoid when I was very revealing in my debates. When I told you everything about everybody is precisely to avoid you telling me this kind of thing today. And so I don't live with that regret because it was a conscious decision because everybody knew everything about everybody. You were there. You know what I did. I made sure that every citizen that went to vote knew they were very much informed about all the candidates, our pluses and minuses, our merits and demerits. So I'm not here for that. In fact, let me make this thing also very clear. The senator that won this election, Senator James Banning, is a friend of mine. He is not an enemy. We didn't have anything personal. I've met him over 2, 3 times. I've congratulated him. The last time we met him, I even said, look, my brother, I apologize to you for being so harsh on you the last election. Okay. He and myself embraced each other. He was eating. We ate in the same plate. He's a friend of mine. Nobody should think he's an enemy of John Ballout. My political stance and the posture I adopted in the interest of the county and the country goes beyond personal relationship. That's why I exposed everything about every one of them, and I gave the people an opportunity to vote wisely.
So, Senator, in your opinion, why do you think the people could not vote you 2020?
Like I said, that's the question, and nobody could answer me.
Yeah,
some said, oh, but Senator, you came late. Okay, granted, I came late. Granted, but you were exposed to the truth. Somebody coming late doesn't change the narrative. It doesn't make the person who came early doesn't make him correct. It doesn't make him right. The person who came last doesn't make him wrong. The debate, once faced with it, and you have to make a decision, you must make the right decision in the interest of yourself, your less fortunate brothers and sisters, and the interest of the next generation. However be the case, that was one of the excuses. Other person said, oh, they were in another party. Okay, granted. You were in your other party, you voted for somebody, don't cry. Assume the responsibility at this point. Because after the election, it doesn't matter which party you're from. You still bear the brunt of good governance or bad governance based on the choice you made.
So what if you also observe at the end of the whole process?
Well,
your observation?
Well, first of all, I think there was a lot of issues at the level of NEC that I frowned on. In fact, if you notice, I was one of the leading organizers of the group of 5 other candidates that had come together to complain about the irregularities and lapses of NEC, the National Election Commission. First on the list, and this is what is important that we pay attention to that. It is extremely suspicious that you change the election magistrate the day before elections in the county. Because you've had your own party machinery, government machinery to go in there to manipulate the process. You change the magistrate a day or 2 before elections. You go in there sweeping changes to the list of people who should have been working on the NEC payroll and the NEC staff listing. And all of these things were raised. Why are you changing all of these people? Why is there a new magistrate brought in the day before election? The magistrate that was there, nobody complained about her. In fact, she had successfully conducted elections in the county, had earned the respect of the people of the county. She's an uncompromising person who stood by what is right. Why would you change somebody like that? And bring a magistrate who absconded the county when we started to raise the issue. He absconded the county 2 days after, or 3 days after the election when we started to raise the issue. He just escaped. Because all the other irregularities we raised, he couldn't answer them. So, long story short, those were the kind of irregularities. We saw people being imported from Ivory Coast, from River G, Grand Cru, trucking them in there to come and vote to serve. I mean, that's political thievery. You're cheating the people's choice. The people in the county, in the space that is going to be benefiting from the level of governance that this elected official should provide, They should be free to choose their leaders and not have an imported electoral voters to make that decision and they go back to their different political constituencies and leave the citizens with a problem.
So,
So beyond all of this, we saw a lot of kids who were allowed to register who were below the voting age. A lot of them. We saw people giving one voter, two, three voting cards, ballot papers. There was one person that was even arrested and carried to the police in this case was highlighted. So all of these irregularities, they have to be taken into consideration if we are to have a free and fair election without noise. Because 2023 is going to be very contentious, very competitive, and for lack of a better word, very risky.
All right, so Senator, this is Moses Dow, and of course, live on two-way radio, TV. And my concern then John to your statement just made. Overheard you talking about people transporting voters from other point to the other. Okay, now my concern is, are you seeing the art of transporting or trucking people from one place to the other, as imposing or leadership on those who are residents of that community?
Of course, that is precisely what it is. And as I speak to you, people are gearing to increase on the numbers of people that will be brought into the country from other places. But please, don't let us dwell on what's past. I consider this spilled milk now.
So
we raise this issue, the county saw it, the government has heard it. A lot of things, like I said,
okay.
There's a senator who's elected. There's a guy who's a friend of mine. Senator Barney is a friend of mine. In fact, here I enjoy the closest relationship with him than any other member of the caucus. So I'm not here to stir up anything that we already said. We've said it all in the county. We've made it public, internationally, nationally. We've said it all. No point going there now. If you have other questions, I would rather also go somewhere.
Yes, Senator, away from that now, let's go to next year election. Next year should be election. Are you going back to contest as Senator of Maryland County?
Well, that was a question asked throughout the county. And my position is, are our people really ready for good leadership? Are they? Because I can't keep imposing myself going back into election, right? And I'm not getting the kind of feedback from the people. I mean, I'm not. So I said to the people, if Maryland County wants John Ballout to run, you have to ask me. You will say, Senator, we want you to run. Please run. I will have to consider that. Because sometimes you keep running to the poll, allow me to run and serve you. We got a lot to do. People think you are begging for opportunity for what? To enrich yourself. You're looking for a job. You're looking for power. No, not me. People like us who are genuinely engaged in the political process in this country to help elevate the socio-economic standing of our people, to reduce the political tension, to reduce the social rift as caused by all of the hardship of our wars and the lack of reconciliation. Liberia is very, very complicated. We need good leaders to unravel this thing, to make it better for our citizens. But I can't keep going every time. So I said, listen, if you want me to run, you will have to ask me. And if you're not prepared to ask me, then you're not prepared for John Ballout. And I can keep going. Look, whatever little resources we have, it's also for me and my family. I can't keep putting it into politics and people are not paying attention to it. So people need to ask ourselves.
So in a nutshell, you expect people from Maryland County to petition you?
I'm just saying, from where I am, I remain ready, willing to serve Maryland, the Republic of Liberia at any given opportunity. But it will have to be, especially when it comes to Maryland, it will have to be on a new arrangement that people actually desire your involvement. People actually appreciate your involvement. Simple. Otherwise, our country in Liberia will say small shame better than big shame. If people are not going to take you seriously, they're still going to play hanky-panky with their lives and thinking that they're doing it with me. No, I'm not prepared for that. So as much as I'm willing, I will have to see some very strong signals from the county. It's very strong signals to get me involved. Of course, granted, I was there, like I said, recently, and I saw some signals that were very encouraging.
What are they?
No. I mean, like I said, I had groups, meetings, strategic group, tribal group, this group, that group, community groups. And yeah, I saw a whole lot of goodwill demonstrated, a whole lot more than the last time. But is it sufficient? Is it strong enough? Are we still thinking tribal? Listen what's going on in Maryland. Barubo is thinking tribal. Kaluwe is thinking tribal. These people are not opening up their minds to entertain leaders who bring progressive ideas. They're limiting themselves to people of their tribe that come from the area. Plibo is even getting tribal. People are talking, say, oh, the tribal grouping, they have their candidate. So when you start to go tribal, even in Harper, you have tribal alliances. When you start to have tribal, then it's not about your idea, it's about your ethnicity. And everyone is going tribal. People like us, exchange of ideas on a competitive ideas, people like us who bring progressive thoughts, judged by our level of performance. And other people are not looking at it, they're grading their involvement purely on tribal lines. It becomes difficult to even, assess it, if not, let alone participate in it.
Quote unquote, Senator, we still care to know. Recently, you have established a consensus, political consensus, visit the county, ask the citizens of the county on, what are they anticipating you in the 2023 elections? What are the results that you have heard from them?
Oh yeah, I mean, like I said, I got very positive results, on many fronts. But like I said, those results I received and feedbacks, are they sufficient? To win the elections, you must be able to have the opportunity to engage and win in all of your districts. You understand? But if certain areas are just close to you, simply because they are from a certain tribe, go listen to the discussions held in the Barubo area. You hear Barubo Unetia, they will be listening to because Tia hails from Barubo. But that's the contradiction and the irony in it. Because Tia is busy in Harper and Plibo asking for votes from people. But in your district, you're telling people no other tribe can come there and get vote. So why should people in Plibo vote for you? Why should people from Harper vote for you? You understand that?
Sure.
In Kaluwe, you will see Blebo Brown playing his Kaluwe politics. And they're very traditional. These people have meetings at night. And we all know that. It's not secret to any of you. And what they say when they come out, they say we lock it, right? But he's in Kaluwe telling people only level from Kaluwe they should vote for because he's Kaluwe's son. So why are you in Harper and Plibo asking the people to vote for you? Or you case and TR case vote for me only because I'm from Barubo. Then win on your vote from your district alone. Now, if in Plibo, okay, if in Harper, you see Mariah trying to ride on ethnicity, right?
Okay.
You see other people like Chico try to ride on the ethnicity. But until we can graduate to the level where we entertain the ideas brought forth by the candidates through an open debate, and where we can judge them from their own performances, from their utterances, from their ideas, and decide what we want, it's not going to be competitive. It's not going to be objective.
Okay, let's know your.
Senator, thank you. My name is Johnson B. Nat. So you said that you are waiting if Maryland are having a call that you should contest.
Right.
So tell us, what are new things that you are hoping to bring on board, apart from those things you did in the past? What are new ideas you hope to bring on the board if you are called upon by the people?
Listen, if you follow John Ballout, the way I work, personally, from the level of my work, I I have no regrets. I have given my all to the county. When you start to see somebody working from year 1 straight to the year 9 of his leadership tenure, you know what it is? Every year you bring in some development, some new organizations providing jobs, opportunities. Every year you pursuing these already projects and things. Every year, you know what it is to go to the United States and pursue the sister state relationship between the state of Maryland and Maryland, Liberia and Maryland, USA, that will have a strategic development organization through the sister state of Richmond. Do you know what it is to pursue all these investors and let them contribute to the infrastructural development? And we mentioned these projects. We mentioned how we ran behind the Harper City Hall renovation, the administrative City Hall administration building. We mentioned the Plebo City Hall, Plebo Youth Center. We mentioned the Barrow Tubman University Agricultural Program. We mentioned the scholarships we're giving children to go abroad and study. We mentioned the Tubman University. No, listen. Just what I was doing to carry development every year, something new was happening, is what I intend to do. Unless you tell me, say you don't like the idea.
Your political stance, sir.
Because at the end of the day, I ask you one question. Take John Ballout out of the equation. Which other lawmaker has brought something to Maryland County new? Which one? Which one? What have they brought? And if you don't like that, then I'm sorry, because that's the way I lead. Okay? Even your own media institutions were all broken down. I engage institutions like the UNDP, United Nations Development Fund, to properly fund your media institution and activate.
What are you bringing on board as a new thing?
I'm telling you, I'm not making reference to these things to tell you what I have done. I'm making reference to tell you these things to highlight how I have worked. So it is not as important, the issues mentioned, the projects. What is important here is that how I have worked to bring something new. I go and bring something new every day to the county. That's my line, and that's what I intend to do. So next time we're going, we carry in new investors. Next time we're going, we carry running water, like I told you the last election. We needed to have pipe-borne water for health and sanitation. The people cannot be taking water for unsanitary conditions, wells, after 20 years of our war. We can't continue that.
So, Senator, when you contest next year elections, who do you really look at as your competitor? Looking at those that are actually coming up now to contest.
But in an election, everyone is a competitor.
I agree.
Okay. I mean, everyone can be major, because at the end of the day, Maryland County is starting to get very predictable on ignoring good quality leadership. You're getting to be very predictable. You follow the crowd and you don't even know why you're following the crowd. Maryland County is a very politically conscious county. We have the second state-run university there. That university that we brought forth has elevated the consciousness, the intelligence of our society. How is it being used? How? Who are they campaigning for? How are they campaigning, taking sides? Who are the sides? Are the sides benefiting the county? Have they ever benefited the county? So beyond the fact that we brought this university, beyond the fact that Maryland is so politically conscious, what needs to be added to this political consciousness is a certain sense of reality, selflessness, patriotism and nationalism, prioritizing the interests of the country over your own personal pecuniary gain. Somebody will promise you their job, yeah, you go there, then you run it after them for the job, you can't get it. Somebody promised you some money, somebody gave you one cell phone, they gave you one motorbike, and all of a sudden it becomes the best candidate. I mean, let's wake up. In the county, people were donating transformers. You carry a transformer to my community, you're the best candidate in the race. You're talking about somebody who's going to be a leader for 9 years, who is supposed to ensure that you take pay on time. Somebody who's supposed to make sure that your health system is okay, your education system is okay, your security is okay. Somebody who's supposed to make sure your infrastructural development is sustainable, uninterrupted. Somebody who's supposed to make sure that you have jobs, that your economy is uplifted, that you are part of your economy. You sell your objectivity, you sell your rights Just because you want to get one motorbike or a bag of rice or some transformer in there and then you're praising that person? Anybody who is campaigning with cash, who is campaigning with goods, is somebody who got nothing to offer from here, your heart and your head. So therefore, the person buy the vote. Why are you complaining now? All over the country, people buy votes and you complain afterwards. For what? You sold your right. So, long story short, our people will have to consider whether they're ready for good leadership or they're just going to continue playing their fun with their lives.
So away from that, Senator, what is your view on the recent killings and other killings in the county, in Maryland County? What is your view concerning that?
You were talking about this young Anthony, right?
Exactly. Issue of Anthony Tiaka.
Anthony Tiaka, or mysterious death in the county.
Well, as for the other deaths that we had, the facts established that they were murders, the fact that they have not been brought to some finality, I think is very disappointing. This highlights a lack of leadership, both locally and nationally. Again, it's about leadership. When you are political leader of the county, direct reference in this case to the county superintendent and the officials of the county, you are answerable to the people to address these things and bring it to some final conclusion. In the absence of that, you have the legislative caucus that is a protective covering for the people to ensure that the executive, whether it is locally in the county or nationally, that they do not sweep issues affecting the well-being of the citizens under the carpet. So the legislative caucus should have brought the executive to perform their task in ensuring that these things are brought to some logical conclusion. And what does it mean, logical conclusion? It means following the law, due process, the rule of law. Let the chips fall where they may, but let the process go on and let people be convinced that they have had a shot at justice. As it relates to the most recent one, death, I would say, I have still yet to be faced to receive the facts before me. I mean, and I would caution the county to be very careful how we spread this, because right now, because of the bad performance of the political class of Maryland, to have had all these other unresolved murders stockpiling, the people are on the verge of they're on the edge right now. It's like the last straw of the camel's back. They don't have patience anymore. And so, and they could be exploding probably on the wrong case. Because from what I hear, this fellow died in his room. From what I hear, the door was locked from inside. This is what I'm hearing. From what I hear, that those who observed the body 2 or 3 days after, supposedly that he died, discovered some marks. And of course, if the body was decaying, you expect to have some marks, okay? And unless you can have some real scientific analysis by way of maybe an autopsy, and I spoke with the county superintendent on this, and he told me that he was opting for an autopsy, and I said, that's a brilliant idea. I also encourage him to keep the county posted regularly by information sharing, because in the absence of information, there's a lot of speculation and misinformation, and people get apprehensive. They lose patience with that. So I would just encourage the citizens to listen to the county, and I will encourage the county superintendent to keep informing them, the police and everybody keep reforming them, and put the pressure on the national government to send in pathologists to conduct this autopsy. Let the legislative caucus speak on this issue. Let them take charge of it. I could never, never, never have been a sitting senator of Maryland County and issues like this drag. Never. That's what people know me for. That's what I stood for. That's what I continue to stand for, and that's what I represent. You can't claim to be leaders of the county, senators and representatives, and things that they drag, and the citizens are moving from Morovia, coming from Maryland, coming here to pursue issues while you are here. So all these things are very discouraging, but until the facts are established that this was a murder, I really hope that the county will, and the young people and our women will bear patience and let the process go out, unroll itself.
Okay, so Senator, thank you. So, in your own view, what do you think should be done? Even though you talk about the issue of the pathologist being invited by the county superintendent, but what about making some declarations or official statements from the legislative caucus, like the county authority and others, maybe from the security apparatus as well?
That's what I said to the county superintendent. He said he had a meeting. I said, it's not enough. You need to have a public statement. The legislative caucus needs to come up with a public statement. These people continue to fail to provide leadership. They continue to fail to provide leadership. But as soon as you see them in the county and throwing a few bucks around, you see a lot of people clapping and dancing around Jesus entering Jerusalem. You understand me? Be serious. You have representatives from Kaluwe, Harper, and Plibo. You have 2 senators sitting. Why don't they think show the citizens that they have people looking after? In that county, the citizens have to take the law in their hands before anybody can pay attention to them. That's not leadership. That's reactionary. People need to be preventive. You don't just go there and start reacting to all of these crises. And so, no, I think that they failed. They failed many occasions. They continue to fail on this. And I hope the county superintendent will keep the county informed. The police report has to be public. People need to be informed. Until that, anything can happen. And beyond that, I listened to some of the journalists posting, gruesome murder, this murder, right? I think they need to, lower the temperature a little bit. Media can make or break the society. People believe what you tell them. So it's very important to be very responsible, slow but sure, and release that which you consider as facts. Until then, no, I think people need to be careful.
So, Senator, before we proceed on this, what is your word?
And don't get me wrong,
What is your word?
it could very well have been a murder for this fellow.
Yeah.
It could very well be everything that people say is said.
Okay.
But the circumstances surrounding it doesn't suggest it openly. This person was in his room. There was no intruder that noticed, that the family of people noticed went in there. And whatever the case is, from what I hear, his door was locked in from inside. If all of this is true, then we need to be very careful how we approach it. That's all.
So what is your word to the family of the late Anthony Tiaka, the youth, the women, and others that are in the county? What is your word to them?
Well, there's nothing you can say of a family that lost a promising son. Nothing, especially when you don't have the facts before you. What can you say to them? The only thing we can say to them is, we pray to God, we take God to comfort you. You understand me? But beyond that, the superintendent will have to assure them that your son died of natural causes or it was tampered with. And in the case it was tampered with, then there has to be a criminal investigation. But the mysteries surrounding this death will have to be cleared. And like he said, and the county has demanded an autopsy, I insist that the national government pay attention to this request and this demand, because this is key to the peace and stability in our county now. We're approaching elections. People can capitalize on these things, like the way people capitalize on honor the rubber, honor the MOPP, every small thing, they'll be politicized. People can politicize this. And when the flame starts to burn, nobody should be starting to complain, because you still have chance to address this issue. Address it in a way that makes sense to the citizen. That's all. That's the only thing we can say to the mother, to the family. Somebody who's going to university with all the misery and poverty, the boy is investing in his future to have a better day tomorrow, and then he dies like this. It could very well be a natural cause, or if it's a case of a criminal involvement, Only the autopsy can establish that. That's why it's so important.
Okay, Senator, so let's go to the last point now. What is your view on this 30,000 that have been given to lawmakers? It was given last year, and recently we heard that the lawmakers again received, the 103 lawmakers in the country received 30,000 each for what they call legislative engagement. What is your view about this? And if when you were there by then as senator, did you receive such money as well?
No, you know, that's some of the things in the county when I was there, campaigning. Oh, Senator, what did you do with people say, oh, Senator Ballout took his legislative project money, he ate it, he built his hotel, his investment in the county, all his property, that's all kinds of nonsense stuff. Let me make it clear. And I said to them, well, you think people want to hear stories sometimes? These same politicians are carrying lies. No senator, 2014, those of us who were leaving, none of us received this money. You understand? This money started 2014, but we didn't see it. We didn't touch it. It became effective 2015 after I left the Senate. And let me say this, I have made my position clear on this, and let me reiterate it. This, how is it called, legislative project,
Engagement form.
and it's a form robbing the Liberian people. It's wrong. You know, the citizens hold your lawmakers responsible for the development of their districts and the county. And so able to deliver on this development, they try to secure for themselves a certain amount that they can carry and put some kind of thing down so as to take the credit. But we have 3 branches of government, and each branch of government, nobody within any branch can perform a function from another branch. Nobody. The lawmaker's job is to talk. The lawmaker's job is to talk. That's why it's called parliament. From the French word parler, talk. Now, a strong lawmaker will know how to talk. There are some tools at the disposal of a lawmaker. And the most important of these tools is the budget. If you know how to use the budget, you can deliver any form of development to your district or your county. But if you don't know how to talk, you don't know how to build consensus, you don't know how to lobby, you don't know how to use the budget process, you sit down there, you acquire wealth, huge salaries, you don't do anything. Then you go back to the people, they ask you what you done for us, and you can't say anything, so you go put money there to go implement project. You don't execute because you're not a member of the executive branch. You can't be directly responsible of allotting money for any project from your own coffers. Anything you want to see done in your district, you can do it through the budget process. You understand that? Through the budget process. When we carry the agricultural farm to Barrow, we put money in the budget for Tottenham University to carry the farm there. I had a meeting with Dr. Elizabeth David Russell. With Amazing Gold and all of these people. We put money in the budget for that purpose. That's it. You can lobby, you make laws, you exert oversight. Making laws is like, passing laws in the interest of the people. And in fact, the most important law is the budget. Your oversight is to make sure that whatever money, whatever the executive is supposed to do in your district or county, you punish and hold people accountable. Your representation is where you can use to represent your people's interest with organization, with investment groups, with this, just represent them. That's the lobbying skills, that's how you speak and act on their behalf. But nowhere in there say you should hold a penny. And the reason why you're not supposed to hold a penny is because your job is to ensure that anybody holding a penny is using that money properly. That's why the executive branch has the money for agriculture, for health, for development, whatever development. We hold them accountable through your committee role. The Committee on Health can check the Health Ministry. The Committee on Public Works can check the road project. The Committee on Agriculture can check the level of support to your agriculture program. The Committee on this and that, all of that. You hold people accountable. But if you're the lawmaker, you receive $60,000 in 1 year, in a period of 1 year. Huh? And you carry out projects. Who's auditing your project? Who's checking on your project? That's why you see it so widely abused. We did this one, did that one. Where are receipts? You are the one that you're supposed to check on people. Nowhere in our constitution where people are checking on you. The only organization, the only integrity institution as well check on you, the General Auditing Commission, huh? You refuse to be audited. So this is extremely illegal and is wrong. I thought with the public outcry, the last time, I thought the executive would have found reason to withdraw this. I thought the legislature themselves would have withdrawn this.
So what was your stance when you were there in the Senate?
Of course I didn't support it. Of course I didn't support it. When I was in the Senate, what we advocated for was county development fund. You understand? The county development fund was not entrusted to the legislature. It was entrusted to the citizens in the county. That's why you have the county development council, right? You all know that. The citizens were going to prioritize it, and we formed part of the citizenry, so we participated in the discussions. But we didn't have access to the funding. We didn't receive any money. We didn't expend any money. We checked on them to see how they conducted, how they spend the money. That, as much as it is also interfering with the executive, it was a way of allowing our own people to have to be busy in the county while national government is doing what they're doing. Let the citizens themselves to be busy discussing some of these development. That's why we started with, we went up to 200,000 and then supposed to go, I think it's been reduced and probably disappeared now. You change that county development fund and you put it to legislative development project. What is that? It is illegal. And the reason why people do it because they're not capable of ably representing the people in a way that they deliver on the demands of development. Yes, it is the responsibility of the lawmaker to ensure that the rules are made. Yes, it is the responsibility of the lawmaker to ensure that the town hall, the clinic, the hospitals, all these things are done. It is a responsibility, but they're supposed to use the budget process. That is where the money comes from. The national government has $1. We send you there to bring our share of the $1. And if you're not capable, then you shouldn't be there.
So, Senator, even though it is not legal to receive this money, but now the money is being given, I think last year and up to now, it's been given to lawmakers. What do you think can be done, or how do you think it can be used by lawmakers? What is your advice concerning that?
Well, first of all, why do you think the lawmakers are asking for this? They want to have money because the demand is high on them, okay? The public is just asking for money for everything from lawmakers. If you don't give them personal gift, you don't give them personal, then you're not a good person. Our citizens today, they respect the lawmaker who will take money and give it to them. It doesn't matter where it's from. Nobody is asking. So the very same lawmaker now putting money in their pocket so they can say they're giving it to you, whether they give it to you or not, right? And that's why it is so ambiguous. That's why it is so suspicious that it shouldn't even exist. But now that it's there, any lawmaker who has good intention will take that money and turn it over to the district to use as a development. They will disengage from it. Because at the end of the day, you want to demonstrate that you are still a lawmaker. You give it to them, let them set the priorities, let them go through, and you maintain that oversight to see how it's expanded. So you actually convert it from a legislative thing to county development fund or a district development fund. Get your hands out of it. It is wrong. Nobody can justify it. You have no right to take any money to say, I did this. It's not you to execute, it's the government. It's the executive branch. You can claim that I put money in a budget to do this. That is your role, but you can't execute. So, I mean, I said it there in the county, and I'm saying it again, and it's unfortunate.
All right, so, Senator, in the 2021-2022 recast budget, the government, the Minister of Commerce have requested 11 million to give to rising quota to stabilize it when people still will vote in the country. What do you make of that?
But again, we got to be careful how we comment on things that we don't have all the facts before us. But one thing is sure is that it is the responsibility of the government to maintain steady supply of food, right?
Sure.
And other necessities to maintain a peace and order in the country. That's why you have your reserves, to help to stabilize changing, fluctuating, unpredictable situation that can affect the free operation of the country. We're seeing gasoline, fuel price double. You're seeing food want to increase in a country that's already poor, like the way it is, and no sign of improvement. Yeah, government is taking this affirmative action to go and intervene in so strategic areas, as long as it's transparently done, and with the involvement of other integrity institutions and other stakeholders to make sure that it is, like I said, transparently done. I don't know. I think I wouldn't comment on what they're doing because it's a responsibility of government to be able to do that. But then again, bringing forth an idea to stabilize things and actually executing it as it should be, there are two different things in this country. People find a good excuse to siphon money. So more than the idea, what is more important than the idea is how you implement the idea. And that's why it's very important as we look into this.
So, Senator, like you said before, leave the issue of this legislative fund that has been given to lawmakers. And you said if you were there, Senator, you would have given the money, turned the money over to the county, as a senator, or to the district as a representative. Now, this is not really happening. The lawmakers are pocketing this money. So, what is your stance on this?
Well, I didn't say I would give it back. You ask me now that it's done, what should be done? I think the best way to discontinue this is for some lawmakers to start rejecting this. To start rejecting it. People should start rejecting it. That's all. Don't take it. I mean, if you reject it, it goes back to government coffers, right? Let government go do what it's supposed to do with it. But you don't put your hand into something that will compromise your role as a lawmaker. You cannot hold money. You cannot expend money from your pocket. You can expend from the budget. You can appropriate. You can use the budget process to negotiate the interests of your country and your county, your district. Yes, that's part of the political strategy of the legislature. You can say, I will not vote on the budget here line unless you include my county into the budget line. You can use the demand. That is your legitimate right. That's the process. But you cannot say, give me the 1 year and put it under this category, then we'll pass it. No, that's not right.
So finally from my end, you recently attended the National Heritage and Culture program where you showcase to represent Maryland County along with other Marylanders who are here in Monrovia. How can you just briefly give us insight on this program?
What I know, there's an organization that started this National Heritage Culture what else? Challenge. And they wrote me asking me to head the team for Maryland. That they had asked other prominent sons and daughters of Liberia to head their county teams as well. I accepted the honor, I accepted the challenge, and of course we invited some journalists, we invited key stakeholders from the county here, and we went there, and that was the opening, of course. They turned over the county team over to me, those that they had some preliminary teams. And of course, I informed the county superintendent about it, and we're going to have more conversation on it. The legislative caucus has been given due notice. I don't know if they have received the communication yet, but we have yet to hear from them. But this whole thing is, let Marylanders come and participate in some cultural exchange, and it's good. I mean, like I said through my remarks there, we've had too much here to complain about poverty, disunity, politics, too many things that divide us. But at the same time, simultaneously, we do have some other areas that unite us and that are beautiful that we can celebrate. That's the culture and history. So I think, and I must congratulate the organizers, Mr. Kamara and his team. I think it's a welcoming thing, and it's good. The mayor of Monrovia was there. He committed the city corporation to adopting this program. I think the mayor has the Lofa County team, and I mean it was just great. A lot of people. I mean, I think it's a very good idea, and I support it.
So finally,
And before you go there, simultaneously and currently, we do have the Miss Liberia competition going on. You know, we have Miss Quay also representing Maryland as our queen. I made the announcement there, and let me take this opportunity to reiterate this, that it is important that we rally around her. She's the symbol for Maryland right now in this competition. And we need to give our support through the voting process. I think just follow it. Everyone is online, and let's give our support where it's much needed at this time.
so Senator, finally, before we leave you, can you please comment on the issue of top May University? Some TU students coming here at the Maryland guest house to do the internship. What does it mean for Maryland County?
Well, we received some students who asked to do internship, and we've accepted some of them. Some of them have come, others have not come. But those who have come, they're welcome here. And I said to some of them, yeah, we may be friends and all that kind of thing, but at this point, I will actually be making my own report to your dean. So you better make sure, you're dealing with a professional setting that we need to work together. But we need to be there for each other to support each other. And they're doing very well.
So how many students do you have here?
Well, right now, I think is Archie Dotu, who started off first. I know that one or two others should come. They have not come yet. It's trying to challenge with the distance. But Archie is doing a great job. He's doing a great job. I'm impressed. I mean, administratively, he's there. He's volunteering in all aspects of this hotel business. He's going to the banks. He's doing payroll. He's doing purchasing. He's doing deposits. He's doing withdrawals. He's checking the records. He's making sure the statistics are there and the stock keeping on things. He's doing a great job. I think it's a great experience for him. And we're all
did you start doing this? Is it the first time
what?
that you start receiving the student for TU for internship?
No, we have one or two that came, but it wasn't for internship. They just came to Monrovia, was trying to say, look, instead of sitting down asking for hand up, come and work for the 1 or 2 months a year vacation time. And so in between they've been coming, and they've been having chance to do some projects, some contracts. Hey, just earn their money instead of just reaching out. So that's it basically.
Is there a final thing we didn't ask you that you want to mention, Senator?
Well, I think you guys are welcome from the county, and it's great seeing you here. We've met on many occasions under different circumstances in the county. The county is our county. We love the county. We respect our citizens. Elections are over. I don't have any issues with anybody. All those who opposed me and we were loggerheads with the campaign, I have personally reached out to everyone. Showcase in the county, I was just there meeting with each and every one of them, publicly reconciling on differences. So that's what we need to do. We need to reconcile. We need to move forward. Tottenham University went through their crisis. Now that you mentioned it, they have been stabilized. We hope that it will continue. I was there. I paid a courtesy visit to the acting president then, because I was the acting president, because the acting president, Blair Wilson, was in town. And but I just assured them that TU should not be allowed to be politicized. We went against the political exploitation of Tubman University, abuse of Tubman University. And as much as we commit to a new beginning with the new leadership to support them, we caution them not to go that route of politicizing the institution, because we would not allow it. And to those who are competing in a race to be senator or representative, that's the best thing to do. We need to offer ourselves. And like I said, every candidate is a challenge in itself. The country needs all of us. I'm not going to dismiss that I will run or not. I'm just saying I've had my own share of disappointment when it comes to the level what people say and what people do. Sometimes they claim we want good leadership, but we're not acting in that direction. So we need to stop thinking tribal. We need to start thinking personal. We need to start thinking national. We need to start being patriotic, ensuring that our country has good leadership. That's the only way to get us out of where we are into a better tomorrow. And so, again, let me conclude by asking all Marylanders to support our Miss Liberia, Maryland in the Miss Liberia competition. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
So thank you very much, folks, for those of you who have been following us.
So, folks, I'd like to say blessing, good day to all of you who following the two-way radio TV. This is Moses Jedao, and this is how I'd like to conclude on this exclusive interview. Until then, you have a blessing. Good day. So, studio, you can take over for now.